Good morning. Happy hump day. It is April 3rd, 2024. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. 7:30 on the dot here. Today, I'm excited because we're talking to an in-home caregiver about avoiding tax scams and other things that put our seniors and people with different abilities at risk. So that's coming up a little bit later, just a few minutes. But first, some weather, some traffic, and some top headlines. And meteorologist Candace Campos is standing by. The big story today is a big weather story. Candace, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Bridget. Yeah, today we are designating it a weather alert day. Some people might be saying, well, what does that mean? Maybe they haven't heard it recently. But basically, what it is when we have weather that will have the potential of causing damage to life and property. So we start terming it a weather alert day to kind of make you perk your ears up a little bit, saying, what does that mean? So not only do we just say, hey, it's going to be a weather alert day, but we're going to break down the timing for you. So let's take it to the map, show you what you need to know as you're on the go for your Wednesday. Severe storms will be possible in the forecast as we head into the lunchtime hour. I'll show you the latest forecast models in just a few seconds. But along with the heavy rain, the lightning, what we tend to see with systems during the afternoon storms, during cold fronts, we are really going to up the chances for strong straight line damaging winds in the forecast. So that's wind gusts upwards about 60 to 70 miles per hour later on today, which certainly can do some damage. Out the door right now, we have that cloud cover in place. We have that southerly breeze, and that continues to pump in a lot more warmth into Central Florida, which is why this morning we are starting off in the 70s, pretty much area wide. Now, winds for at least this point of the day, it's not too bad, ranging between about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but we are looking at the winds cranking up even further. So starting in about 3 hours, 2.5 hours or so, we will have a wind advisory that will be issued for all of Central Florida, as our breeze will be out of the southwest between about 20 to 30. We'll have those times where gusts could pick up to about 40 miles per hour. Now, this is not the damaging winds I just finished talking to you about. This is just a wind advisory. We'll get that tightening pressure gradient, and we'll get those strong winds coming in, funneling it out of the south. But this is going to be the culprit for those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Right now, lightning has been picked up all throughout the overnight and into the early morning hours. We now are under a tornado watch box across parts of southern Georgia, North Florida. All that has just been issued within the last hour or so. We've also had severe thunderstorm warnings. So that same line still will be making its way into Central Florida. Now, of course, these lines tend to weaken as they approach the Florida Panhandle, but it's going to tie in just in time for the peak heating of the day. So that is why we are anticipating the potential for some of those strong storms to really boom and turn more severe. So let's take it to the latest model runs. This one came in just about 30 minutes ago. So you're kind of looking at the latest run right now. By about 2 o'clock is when we are anticipating that first line of those stronger storms to approach our northern counties. So I'm talking to you guys throughout the villages, northern Sumter, northern Lake County, the areas pushing into northern Volusia and Flagler County. You guys will kind of be under that zone of severe weather threat by between, let's say, 2 and 4 o'clock. Between, let's say, 3 and 6, we'll have that shift further southward along the I-4 corridor. Now we're talking more about central and southern Volusia, in and around Seminole County, Orange County, southern Lake County. We'll be seeing that threat for those heavy downpours, that lightning. Could even see the potential of some small to medium-sized hail, let's say dime-sized to pea-sized hail. Certainly can't be ruled out. But then you kind of see a weakening trend just a little bit, Bridget, by about 6 o'clock as it shifts further into Osceola and Brevard County. Now, this will still have some pretty heavy rain associated with it, but we're looking at a severe threat starting to trend down a little bit. Once that pushes out, the atmosphere will be kind of worked over. We'll have some lingering scattered showers, but technically the main line, the main front, I should say, is still to our north. So it won't clear the area till about 11 to about midnight. But you can see that second line really isn't anything to be too concerned about overnight. The real booming storms will be in the middle of the day, and then we'll clear out our skies. So these are your main severe weather risks for today. You can see the areas, the things highlighted in red there on your box on the top right-hand side of your screen. This indicates lightning. Obviously, the heavy rain. Some areas could rack up to about an inch and a quarter of rainfall. when this is all said and done. Now, we have the risk of tornadoes still on the map here, as we can't rule out the chance of a spin up or two in the forecast, but everywhere highlighted here in the yellow is under what we call a slight risk, meaning from the Storm Prediction Center, they kind of designate this from a level 1 to a level 5. We tend to see a marginal level 1 off and on during the summer, but it really starts to become a little more on the heightened side once we start getting into that level 2, which is what we'll be under for today. Other than that, temperatures for today will be running just a few degrees above average. Rain chances, of course, staying elevated. So along with the breeze before the rain comes in, then the strong storms on Wednesday. Once we get all of that done with by the evening hours, we'll continue to keep the breeze in place Thursday and Friday. Nothing, I don't think we're going to have advisories in place, but certainly not a great day for beach or boating. But look at the weather behind this front when it comes to your temperatures. We'll be in the mid 70s, which is just a few degrees warmer than what we're waking up to this morning. Yesterday, we were nearing 90. So we're seeing that big swing in temperatures. And anytime we see that during the spring, it tends to come with a bit of a punch, and that's exactly what we're going to be seeing. But we've been tracking this front, Bridgett, for days now. It started making headlines for weather along the west coast of the country over the weekend, and that has continued to spawn tornadoes and winter storms, all as it continues to track across the country. So I think everyone across the U.S. will be happy to see this system exit by tomorrow.
Yes, it is quite the system. All right, we'll be watching out this afternoon, Candace, and, depending on where you live, just tracking it as we go and check the radars, check the Pinpoint Weather app. Yes.
Yeah. The Pinpoint Weather app is a fantastic tool. Some people don't like to enable their locations, but on days like this, it's not a bad idea. You don't get extra notice. You get less notification if you kind of pinpoint where you are going to be, or maybe it's where your kids go to school or whatnot.
So turn it on today.
Yeah, I would certainly do that. Dismissal, I know we always talk about it as moms who
it's an
are
early day today.
Carline moms, that might be delayed a little bit, or those after school activities might be delayed or canceled. So make sure to stay informed with the schools and all that fun stuff.
And we can pin it too if we could safely show some weather videos or photos from our area.
We would love that, because we could always throw those into our show and use them. And at the end of the day, our viewers, you guys are our eyes and ears out there. But yes, as Bridgett said, please just do it safely.
Right. All right, Candace, we'll see you soon. See you at noon too. All right. Thank you. All right, and Trooper Steve is standing by this morning. We, had quite a day with traffic and news sort of colliding yesterday afternoon. And Steve, I know you were following this almost as soon as I got home. I saw Sky 6 in the air, and there was that big chase on I-4. Oh, we lost him. Is he there? He's frozen. Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
Okay, now.
Yeah. Nothing's happened. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So, the traffic got kind of crazy on I-4 yesterday afternoon, right after our shifts.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because we don't get to see the nitty gritty of law enforcement response very often. We always see that end portion of it when the cameras arrive. But yesterday we had the Department of Transportation cameras right where we needed them when it looked like Lakeland Police Department was trying to stop some type of felony suspect, very violent felony suspect, and then they decided to do the wrong thing and take off. And the Florida Highway Patrol takes a very strong stance on pursuits. They train for it, and I don't know where this guy thought he was going to go, but you're right. It was right here, Metro Orlando area, really messed things up for a little bit because of where it happened right at I-4 and John Young Parkway. That eastbound and westbound Orlando traffic could really kind of slow things down, and you were victim of that yesterday.
Yeah,
so they were able to
pit
that
early.
vehicle.
Yeah,
they just were able to stop that vehicle after it crashed. Unfortunately, the driver didn't want to comply, so they got to meet one of the Trooper Canine dogs, and they were safely able to take that suspect into custody. I was joking this morning. I know not many people can joke at this level, but hey, I am a cop, so hey, at least they didn't have to call in their mileage, and they just walked him across the street to the jail there. But at the end of the day, the big thing was to make sure no one else got hurt.
Yes.
And they were able to stop that guy.
So many people's lives put at risk with that big chase. 2 counties and all over the place.
Insane. Yeah. And the best part was he was wanted for felony kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
So to get this kind of suspect off the street, so hopefully
Mm-hmm.
something like that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Hey, kudos to everybody that was involved out there,
Yeah.
but it did mess up traffic quite a bit.
Yes. Both sides. Yeah. How are we looking this morning?
This morning, we're looking at our routine stuff, Bridget. I'm really happy about it. We've had a good morning so far. Department of Transportation camera just showing the slowdowns right now out in Osceola, but this is something we see every single day. If I didn't see this, then I'd be buying breakfast for the entire staff this morning as a celebration, but uh, that ain't happening. Downtown Orlando, pretty smooth. You could see that gloomy skies that Candace has been pinpointing all morning yesterday and giving us that heads up of what is to come this afternoon. So right now, when you're hitting the road, plan for this afternoon, but your drive's not bad. 27 minutes in both directions. It's pretty much the only big crash I'm watching right now is off of just east of I-4, north of Maitland, kind of I would say this is what? Castleberry, US 1792 northbound at Fernwood Boulevard. And then the airport's still looking nice this morning. Brevard County has been behaving real well. Northbound 95, you'll run into something minor a little closer towards Daytona. Looks like it cleared out a second ago at 95 South at the 260. But Bridget, for the most part, we've been blessed when it comes to driving this morning. I just really hope drivers will pay attention this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
We've been given plenty of heads up
Yeah.
about it. We know the wind gusts are going to be there, heavy rain. We haven't probably seen a big drop in rain in a long time. I say long time, couple of weeks. So just be cautious in the construction zones. I've coined the
Mm-hmm.
name that Candace used, nuisance ponding, and that can happen in our ramps, entrance and exit ramps, especially if construction's there, because some of that dirt could build up. You just need to be careful, slow it down, and hopefully when we come back, our team comes back together tomorrow. The Avengers kind of collide again. We can have good things to report tomorrow that we had no major
Mm-hmm.
crashes and no heavy weather damage.
Yes, really hope so. And what are you up to today?
So part of WKMG hits the road. I'm headed to Sanford today, the Mellonville community. Renee, a viewer that watches us that lives in the 32771 area, reached out, and she's kind of been a hot commodity. Investigator Eric Sandoval, got to talk to her last week, and then today she's going to jump in the truck with me. She has concerns about her neighborhood, very normal residential community, but there's no sidewalks. So
Hmm.
we want to talk about that. We want to see. She definitely has reached out and says, I want Trooper Steve's opinion. And Bridget, I'll offer an opinion even when not asked. So we're going to go out there. She's going to jump in the truck with me, go for a nice drive, conversation. It's what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing, right? Meeting
Mm-hmm.
our viewers in these areas and seeing what their concerns are. And her concerns are pedestrian traffic and that they want a
Mm-hmm.
nice and safe place to walk. So we're going to do that at 10 a.m. today in Sanford. And I can't wait. So that'll be a good time.
Good deal. Looking forward to that. All right. Thanks, Steve.
Bye, Bridget.
See you later. A few stories to get to now. Unfortunately, just a really sad one. We start with a breaking news story from overnight. An apartment fire in Altamont Springs, and now we've learned that a child died in this fire. This happened around 1 a.m. along Ballard Street, and it happened on the second floor, and dozens of people got out. But unfortunately, again, we learned that a child was killed in this, and right now investigators don't know what caused the fire, but they are checking into possible causes, so we'll keep you updated on what they find. Also, in Eustis today, a safety issue is being ramped up. We told you about a pilot program with some cameras to catch people speeding in school zones. So Emily McLeod has more on why now it's changing from warnings to tickets.
After a 30-day warning period, the new speed zone cameras here in Eustis resulted in 767 warnings, but just in one school zone. So this camera right here is located near the Orange Avenue and Prescott Street intersection. Eustis Police Chief Craig Capri tells us he hopes the $100 fines that will be issued beginning Wednesday will bring that number down to zero.
This isn't even throughout the entire city.
This is
just one school zone.
one school zone, 767 warnings issued in a 5-week period.
When you saw those numbers, were you surprised?
I was surprised. I was a little concerned, like, okay, this confirms the data that we looked at, the scientific data, that there is a speeding problem there.
Now, what some people might not realize is that you can still get a speeding violation even when school zone signs aren't flashing. So these signs that are posted warn drivers that these cameras are active during the entire school day. So if you're caught speeding during any of these times while school's in session, you could see a $100 fine in your mailbox.
This program, I hope, changes that behavior, and I hope that we don't issue a lot of citations. That's the goal of this program, because if we're not issuing speeding citations, it means people aren't speeding in school zones, and our mission's accomplished.
Eustis Police Chief Greg Capri also says there will be someone who looks over every violation recorded to make sure there's no mistakes.
We're going to make sure that every violation is a valid violation, that it's been reviewed as a valid violation before we issue that violation where they have to pay $100. We understand $100 is a lot of money to people here right now. It's a lot of money.
Chief Capri also tells us drivers will have 30 days to pay their fine or appeal it. If they don't, it becomes a moving violation, which could result in points on your license. In Eustis, Emily McLeod
getting speeding results for sure. Well, now to avoiding tax schemes. We have mentioned several programs that are out this year. It's even in the news right now that the comptroller is warning people about the IRS's direct file system. But today it's about helping our seniors and those with different abilities avoid these scams, because many times they are targeted and made easy prey in times like this when many people are just trying to get their taxes done. We have Nikki Magyar this morning, owner of Right at Home, which is an in-home care for seniors and adults with different abilities. And Nikki, thank you so much for being with us to just bring attention to this, because we talk about, the scams and the ripoffs that are constantly going. And this is one of those times of years that it ramps up.
Yes, thank you for having me. Right at Home is an in-home care and assistance company. Our job is to take care of Central Florida, bringing caregivers to people's homes. And in that, we bring safety, companionship, personal care. But really, today we're talking about that tax day is coming up, April 15th. And one of the things we can do to help is to think about how to avoid scams. So the IRS, for instance, they send all their information via the mail. And a lot of seniors are really in a class where people might take advantage of them because they think that, oh, they're not tech savvy or they're too polite to tell me no. So they'll call them and ask for things and demand things over the phone. And so one of the things we can do to help them, not just as caregivers, but as family members, is to really think about how can we check to make sure they're not getting scammed. So things like maybe screening their phone calls. So if you hear that they're on the phone with someone who's disrupting them and making them feel bad, maybe hand them the phone, take the phone from them and ask who that is and ask those poignant questions. Also, while you're doing your taxes, even our older adults have to do their taxes to get their benefits and their refunds, to sit down with them and walk through those things with them and ask those questions, make sure that they're with a proper tax advisor. Some people really do take advantage of seniors, asking them for more fees than they normally would ask an average adult. So we just don't want those things to happen. Another point is to just check their bank statements or credit card statements. Again, they might have picked an email that could have been a phishing scam. And these things happen to everyone, right? But it's really hard for seniors to be able to double check these items. And so it's really great to have a family caregiver or professional caregiver to help you along your side, to be on your team, right? Yeah. And we can even help them write checks to make sure that they're keeping their bank statements current and just keeping their bills current. But it's really important during tax time and every day to make sure that your seniors aren't being taken advantage of.
Yes. And so when we think about them being taken advantage of, I mean, we just had in the news here recently about how, power of attorney can be one of those tricky things where, you're electing someone to be in your best interest, but sometimes people are targeted in that way.
Yeah. So as power of attorney, we make sure that we get those pieces of paper. We even double check it sometimes with our lawyers that we know very well in elder law, because those documents can also be fraudulent. Like, it's really sad these days how scammers and people take advantage.
And even with in-home care, how can we make sure that we're finding, the right caregivers? Because there's a lot of trust that goes into that.
Of course. So when you're vetting an agency to be a caregiver for your family, it's really important to ask questions like, are these your direct employees? How do you manage them? What do you do for training? Do they have a level 2 background screening? And with that, that means they have a federal background screening. So at any moment, if they even get a traffic ticket, we get alerted. It's an amazing system that they have in a clearinghouse, and we love it. It really makes us have peace of mind, and we know that our families are well taken care of. So our management team, our client care managers, and our staff at Right at Home really do a great job of just staying in touch with our families, staying in touch with our caregivers. We do spot checks in the home to just ensure that everything is running as smoothly as possible.
Yes, and it's one of those things where sometimes it can be hard to gauge maybe when someone's at that place where they might need more assistance at home, but they don't want to go to, a full-time caregiving nursing home or senior living, establishment. So how do you work through that, or how do you encourage families to work through that with loved ones?
So at Right at Home, we try to be very proactive. We're part of different community things like, say, the Parkinson's Association and things like that. And we tell them to be proactive before an emergency happens, before there's a slip or fall. Work with an agency, talk to them about what they might be able to provide for you. So for us, we ask them, we go in the home, we do an assessment. So it's a risk assessment on their home to make sure that there's no rugs in the wrong place, all the little safety hazards, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also it's to get to know the family and to see what their needs are. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe your elderly person is starting to have memory loss, but they're just getting started. And maybe they just need some medication reminders, or maybe they need to be helped to get up in the morning, to get dressed and groomed and ready to go and feel really great about themselves. Or same thing at nighttime. Maybe they just need to be able to get put back in bed and feel comfortable. Every situation is different, and we're available 24/7. The main thing is really just to keep the respect and independence of that person. So if they can do things for themselves, we really try to help them, encourage them to stay that way. We try to help them eat healthy food. We're
Mm-hmm.
meal prepping for them, do grocery shopping for them, and just try to make sure that the rest of their journey is as great as it can be.
Yeah. And then there comes a point where they do need more full-time care. How do you approach that?
Sure. We provide live-in services, and we also provide 24/7 care. So through Right at Home, you can utilize, say, your long-term care insurance, and different insurance providers do pay for some of the care, but a lot of it is private pay. So we really just work with the families to see what they're able to afford and what's the best situation for them. Most of our clients typically use our services for, say, 20 to 40 hours a week, and then they have their family help as well, or maybe some neighbors. And we work really closely with different companies as well, like home health or hospice and things like that. As people age in place, we try to make sure that they have all of their different lines of service and providers in place. And we work with a great team here in the community.
Yes. And so before we go again, just revisiting those red flags when it comes to possible scams and what we need to not fall for. What are those key takeaways? I think we have a full screen again with maybe 6 points here to keep in mind, these top scams for targeting older individuals.
Perfect. Yes. So for government impersonation, they will send those items in the mail to you. They're not going to call you and be aggressive. For tech support, you can definitely lean on your caregivers to make sure that you're not clicking on the wrong things. And a lot of times those items look so similar to what you normally would give for charities, or something that looks familiar, but sometimes their contact details are just slightly different.
Or they may even steal logos sometimes and it looks like a real email from the real company or bank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and the lottery, that is one thing. I mean, I've even gotten those in the mail, and I'm amazed. And it's really tricky. It's a very tricky situation. But really to lean on your caregivers and your family to look at those items and look through screen those phone calls, go through your finances and your bills, and just to make sure that things are on the up and up, and report the scams. Those companies that you work with, they will be happy to work with you.
Yes, I mean the romance is one of the bullet points as well. And we've seen so many scams like that where people are getting romantically involved with someone online, and they think it's a real celebrity or someone that they think that they know,
Yes.
but it's it's someone overseas who's trying to get you to wire money.
We actually had a case a while back in that they had one of our people. She had a boyfriend that kept asking her to give him money, and eventually she was put under guardianship because it just got out of control, and it's very sad. But those people are there to be put in place and to help people, to make sure that they, if they're not making those right decisions and they're not really thinking it through, that these people are taking advantage of them. And, they're lonely. Some people are just lonely and they really want to have that companionship. And so they're just assuming that people are in the right mind and they're wonderful people.
Yeah, so much to keep in mind. But thank you for all you're doing to help with families and taking care of those in need, and just, really great information to keep in mind as we, work through this tax season and just these ongoing threats that unfortunately seem to get more and more advanced. But Nikki, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, have
Thanks
a good
so
one.
much. You too.
All right. All right, we got to head out now, but we will be back tomorrow. I'll be off because I have a birthday baby turning 8 tomorrow, but you'll be in good hands, and I'll see you back here on Friday morning. But for now, hope you stay safe this afternoon with the weather. And speaking of weather, coming up next, Weather-Wise with meteorologist Jonathan Kekis. Make it a great day. I'll see you at noon.